In this video, we're going to go over setting the white balance settings in your digital camera. This is particularly important if you're shooting in JPEG on your camera. It is less important if you're shooting in RAW because afterwards you can easily change the white balance settings in post-processing if you are shooting in RAW, but that is not the case for JPEG. So let's get into it. Right now, as you're looking at me forward here on this camera shooting this, I'm in auto white balance. Usually your digital camera does a pretty darn good job of picking out what the color scheme should be on the basis of its auto white balance setting. But sometimes it won't do the best job. And in that case, the first things you may want to try is going ahead and picking out using different presets to use. Situations where it might have problems include where there are mixed lighting situations, where say there's some daylight in one, some halogen lights, along with some incandescent tungsten bulbs all mixing around, and the camera just doesn't know which one to pick. Another situation would be, say, at sunset, when your camera's looking for the brightest light, trying to zero that out to make that be its white tone, and instead of the beautiful sunset with all those deep colors, you end up getting a totally blanched out scene that just doesn't look anything near as vibrant as what you actually saw with your eyes. A very similar situation is if you're looking at a scene that is lit by candlelight. That beautiful kind of orange romantic glow that you get there will also be totally wiped out by auto white balance. So that is why your camera has different presets available for you to be able to switch it and tell your camera, nope, I want to be in control. I want to know to tell you exactly the way it should be and pick a very specific white balance. You can even do a custom white balance in your camera, but most of the times we're going to stick to our different presets that are in there that we can quickly switch over to. All right, so now let's look and see just how switching to the different white balance settings is going to make a big difference in how our image looks. I'm going to do a series here of switching on the camera the different presets of white balance so you can see right in front of you the difference of how it looks. All right, so first we're on daylight. I should probably look about correct because right now I'm standing under daylight balanced lights for this video. And again, to be able to switch your white balance settings on your camera, you will look for either, if you're on Canon, the different spots on your camera that would say WB, standing for white balance. And if you have Nikon, it's probably in the little info menu and around the side. And again, it'll have a WB there for it to go in and change the settings. So this is daylight balanced. This is cloudy. This is shade. This is tungsten or incandescent, the typical old school bulbs that we used to use. And fluorescent light. Now that you've seen the different effects of these white balance presets, which one do you think you should use? Well, luckily, about 99.9% of the time, auto white balance is the one you want to stick with. It does a really great job. The only times that it really is going to be thrown for a loop is when you have the really warm situations of tones that you find in sunsets or, say, candle lighting. So in that situation, what I would suggest you do is take it off of auto white balance and switch it over to the daylight setting, the little sun icon. Once you've done that, take some shots. Look at the back of the preview. Look and see, is it close to what you want? If it doesn't quite have the intensity of warmth in the orange and red tones that you want, go ahead, switch it to cloudy. Take a few more shots. Look at the back. Once you've done that, look and see again. Is it intense enough in the warm tones for you? If it's not, switch it over to shade. From shade, go ahead, take some more shots. At this point, the reds and the oranges should be very intense overall and vibrant in your shot. Now, once you're finished photographing in this particular lighting situation, be sure to turn it back to auto white balance. Why? Because if you don't, and you go back to shooting in normal lighting situations, everything instead is going to be tinged with that very red, warm, orangey hue going to it. And that just doesn't look natural for most of our different shots that we want to take. So again, when you are done shooting this particular situation, be it the sunset or the candlelight situation, be sure to set it back to auto white balance. And then you will end up with shots that are appropriately colored right in camera.